These guys never finish projects.
If you don't make another video on the 6x6, I'm unsubscribed.
Technically, a 300 horsepower mini Jeep could be built in a week.
Stop fiddling around with these silly projects and build a mini Jeep.
A lot of you guys seem to think that we don't finish projects around here, but I can assure you that this mini Jeep is getting finished. In this video, we're building a custom gas tank, roll bar, and focusing on getting our engine connected to the rear wheels. That will get us 3 steps closer to ripping this beast down the road at maximum speeds. Since the beginning of this build, we designed this section of the frame to hold a gas tank, but it has to be perfect. So we're gonna hop into some CAD, design this gas tank, cut it up, weld it, and see how it looks. We got our gas tank all cut out, and right now it just looks like a whole bunch of pieces of metal. But it's gonna turn into a 4.5 gallon tank, which I think we're gonna need for 300 horsepower. And while we were at it, we also cut out this very premium stamp of approval. I think it's gonna look really good welded to the tank. Just makes it a little bit more personal. Let's start welding this thing together. We got our gas tank all welded up, and it sounded very nice. This could be a musical instrument, but it's a gas tank. So we're gonna add this last piece of metal to finish it all up, and then I'm gonna go around and TIG weld the whole thing, because I trust the welds in here about as far as I can throw this hammer. And
that was not that far.
That's not very far. So we'll go around, TIG weld this whole thing up, and then we'll have our gas tank.
Oh man, gear oil, really?
We don't have any WD, man. Gear oil it is. We got our premium stamp of approval on this tank, and now it's ready to see if it's gonna fit in our mini Jeep. I hope it does, because even though this looks like a square, it was a lot of work, a lot of designing, and a ton of welding. I feel like I'm like 2 tones tanner now. Oh, dude, that is premium. Now we just gotta make some mounts that come off of here somewhere. I want the gas tank to be level, and I want it to be removable if there's any problems in the future. After we make those mounts, we're also going to tank seal this thing, because we made a gas tank for our 3-wheeler last time and it rusted from the inside out, which is no good for a 300 horsepower mini Jeep. This gas tank is so heavy, dude.
That's ridiculous. It looks so light.
We made a brick. But now, what the plan is, and I don't know if this is gonna work, but we're gonna drill holes in these spots that we just marked, and then tap them, and then we'll be able to put a screw in it, and we'll hold this whole thing on there, but make it removable, which we haven't done before. All our stuff is just welded on, but I want this vehicle to be very serviceable. It's time to add our tank sealer, and after looking at some of the warnings on this thing, Taylor is pretty worried.
Dude, it says it can cause permanent irreversible lung damage from the fumes.
What does it say? It's like vapor and spray mist will cause the effect of permanent damage to the lungs.
And the nervous system.
We have the door open, it's fine.
No.
We'll pour it in here, we'll tape everything off, we'll swish it around outside, and then our tank will be fully sealed. I've never worked with this stuff. It looks nice.
It looks harmless. It looks like a little thing of paint, but I think it's actually toxic waste in there.
Are you ready to see what this smells like?
Yeah.
This is the most warning labels we've ever worked with.
Pour it and seal it fast.
Ooh! That stinks! It says this has to sit for 4 days.
I know. Set time is 4 days.
That's insane. I was hoping we'd be able to put gas in here, but this is gonna have to sit all week long.
Yeah. 4 days is crazy.
It's criminal. I guess doing things the right way sometimes takes a little longer.
Yeah. Something we're not always very good at.
But at least our gas tank's not gonna rust out.
Yeah.
Which is good. Because that's diabolical. It happened on the three-wheeler. So many problems.
I know that was so bad for that.
It went into the
engine, too.
fuel system.
Yeah.
Also, that tank was like half a cup of gasoline, so we were always refilling it. This is 4.5 gallons.
Yeah, that's really nice. Time to drain?
Yep. I think it's fully covered. It looks fully covered. Whew.
How bad is that?
Bad, man. I think I might have to go to the hospital.
No! Did you have instant lung damage?
Yeah.
Permanent style?
There's these little pinholes in the welds because I'm not a pro at this, and so I think that's going to help a lot, honestly. Just cover all the holes that I missed. The little ones. How much comes out?
Oh, there we go.
Not a lot. But we're waiting for that super toxic, stinky stuff to dry in our gas tank. It's time to start building this roll cage. Now, this roll cage is not going to be very protective, but my hope is that if this thing does roll, hopefully it never does that, it will protect you slightly and you won't get completely crushed by a 900-pound miniature mini Jeep with 6 wheels. So that's the plan. I think I'm going to go from here, do a loop, come down, super simple, over the gas tank. Should be pretty nice. Let's start bending some tube. This is the furthest we've ever bent a piece of metal.
Yeah.
And I have full faith in the Rogue Fab Bender, but I'm a little worried that our tube might be stuck.
Also our own measurements.
And our own measurements might be off. But I guess we're just gonna have to try to get it off of here and...
I think it's gonna be just fine. It's gonna...
So?
Yep. It's gonna come right out. Yeah.
Oh yeah! That's nice! Did we get it right though?
That's the next question. It looks like a big cane right now.
It does. Oh. Could you imagine me as a wizard?
That's a wizard cane, dude.
It is. Or like a hook. I could like grab something. Like those people that work with sheep.
Yeah, it's like a sheep's cane.
Yeah, sheep's cane. I don't know. That looks pretty close.
It's close for sure.
Should we cut it or bend it more? That's the real question. Now that we got this U cut out, I can show you kind of what I'm thinking for this roll cage. So, U's gonna be right there. We'll take a bar of metal like this, come down, back to the end, but there's a problem. If we just go straight back, that's not gonna work because our gas tank won't be removable. And we spent like 3 hours making this be able to come out of the vehicle, and I really want it to stay that way. So what we're gonna do is follow these lines and then just make a bend somewhere around here and come back to the back. I think it's gonna look pretty sick. It will kind of triangulate our back, and it might save you in an accident.
Got a treat. Some gear oil burning.
Always smells so good.
So good.
Love that stuff.
I saw in the comments of one of our last videos, someone said that Nissan makes a grape, like scented cutting oil.
Can someone send us that?
I want some of that stuff.
I want that so bad.
That sounds awesome.
Okay, so we've got this bar all ready to go. It's just time to weld it in, and then we'll have a pretty solid roll cage. All right, we got our roll cage done, and now it's time to see if this gas tank's gonna come out. If it doesn't come out, we're running into a big problem because we're gonna have to redesign some things. But I think we left enough space. Let's check it out. It probably will require a hammer. For some reason, this gas tank gets stuck in the cage every single time. Oh, yeah, it's jammed.
Okay. I really think it will come out.
You think it will come out?
Yeah.
I hope it will come out. I don't want to have to redesign this cage. It looks sick. Oh! Is this the most functional project at BUM?
Yeah, that was actually way easier than I thought.
Same. I thought we were going to be jamming it out like, come on, get out. That's great. Now we can bolt this gas tank in and start working on how we're going to get the power from our engine to our rear wheels. That's going to require a jack shaft. We're also going to have to make stuff that's really strong to hold up to 300 horsepower, but I think we can do it. That's not going anywhere.
That is connected.
That is solid. I love that design. Super premium. To get the power from our engine to our rear wheels, we're gonna need 2 sprockets, a jack shaft, and something very strong to mount all of that to. Because that sprocket situation is about 1 inch from your foot, and it's gonna be wanting to pull this way at 100 miles an hour. I'd really rather that whole situation not hit me in the leg. So we're gonna remove this seat, figure out what kind of space we're working with, and go from there. We should really put riv nuts in this seat.
Yeah.
We have nuts in the back, and this is really sharp aluminum. It's really hard to get these ones out. hotter than an oven with a hot pocket in it right now.
Where are the hot pockets?
It's like 100 degrees in here. No insulation is killing us. I think the roof of this building is black.
It is.
So it cooks. It's like 85 degrees outside right now and probably 110 degrees in the unit. Ooh.
Yeah. It's not the most ideal.
It's rough.
Wow. It looks so cool with that without the seat on.
Without the seat, looks like we have a lot more space to design a jack shaft to me.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, for our mounts, we got these flat little bearing holders, but I don't want to weld them on here. Sometimes we weld on these things, but they are cast iron, and that connection I don't think would be very strong to hold all of the power of that engine. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it on here like that, mark the holes, drill it out, and then just build studs that this bolts to. And that will be pretty strong. These jack shaft mounts have to be extremely strong, so we went over to Cutting Edge Customs. Plasma cut out these 10 gauge pieces of steel, which I think are gonna be a little overkill, but a little overkill is a lot better than underkill. These plates are gonna weld onto this flimsy Polaris metal, and then we'll take these bearing holders, they'll weld like that, bearing in here, shaft through there, and then we'll have a jack shaft. Okay, both of the plates are completely done. We've got the studs welded in. These pieces, the bearing holders, just go on like this. And then we'll bolt them on, and then we'll take this without the bearing in it, because we've learned if you weld with bearings in the mounts, they'll completely melt and you'll destroy them. They're kind of expensive too, they're like 30 bucks, but we'll just take this one, go right here, around that, weld it in there, do that on the other side, and then start working on our jack shaft. We got both of our bearing holders in place and our bearings installed, and these things are insanely strong. They're not going anywhere. This whole system is also removable. So it's time to move on to our sprocket system and the jack shaft itself. We struggled with the chain setup for a better part of an hour, and we got this chain all set up, and that's mainly because we've got the help of a Polaris chain tensioner. But on this side, we're having troubles because, of course, we are a link off. Whenever you work with chain, you can expect to be a link off from where you want to be. So we're gonna have to design a chain tensioner tomorrow, but while we're waiting for all of those parts to come in, we're gonna start working on our fuel system, because when we tried to start this Gixxer engine last time, this happened. Oh! Maybe that's a little too much pressure. And we don't want that to happen, so we're gonna install this nice fuel pump with AN lines to our nice new gas tank, because you can't drive this thing on brake clean. Where should we put this fuel pump, dude? Should we put it over here?
I don't know, that seems a little bit out of the way, maybe?
Yeah, and the line would be pointing towards the back, which we really don't want.
Yeah.
So maybe we don't have a lot of line to work with. Maybe we just put it somewhere like right around there, drill a hole through, use this little thing that came with a motorcycle mounted up.
Yeah.
And then we can run a line down here to that pressure regulator and then to the engine.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the best route.
Looks pretty nice. It's a lot better than what we were working with before. This was a serious fire hazard. We had it on an aluminum seat.
Yeah.
That was bad. Oh yeah, that's solid. Look at this, dude. Check this out.
Oh yeah.
That's not going anywhere.
No.
Now that our fuel pump's mounted, it's time to mount this regulator, and I don't really know how this works, but we're just gonna put it where it needs to go, take the lines from this, go to the front of our engine, and then our fuel system will be done. This Jeep makes you go in the most complicated body movements ever known to man. It's ridiculous.
Well, literally crawling in between it.
Yeah. I think it's the ghost of Polaris. I actually do.
Yeah, I actually think so as well.
I think it's like a curse. Dude, that will do. I don't really know what this connector is for. We just had it laying around. It says NOS on it. It's really cool. But it's a T fitting or like a Y fitting. So it would just spray fuel out here right now. We're definitely going to have to get a fitting that's just straight and doesn't have that extra port on it. But if you come over here, this is some of the best work we've ever done on Bone. I'm pretty sure. I'm very proud of it. Comes down here, you have the fuel pump, you have the fuel regulator. It comes around down here, all AN lines. Very nice, very professional, very high PSI capable. And then it goes all the way to our engine. And we have fuel. Good job, dude.
It's fully hooked up, and it honestly looks really cool.
It looks really good. So we'll come back in the morning, build our chain tensioner, install our seat, and then we're one step closer to driving this thing. We got a lot done on the Mini Jeep last night, including the fuel system and most of our drivetrain, but now it's time to make our chain tensioner and finish up the chain that goes from the engine to our drivetrain. And for that, we've got this polyoxymethylene, which is just a fancy word for extremely strong plastic that we're gonna build our tensioner off of using this extremely long bolt. So let's connect our chain and figure out how to build this simple tensioner. some very tight clearances right here.
I know, it's ridiculous.
There's like no room to work with. Whew! That's tough stuff. Holy cow! What is happening?
It's like an earthquake.
Why is it jumping like that?
I don't know.
It's ridiculous. Oh!
What?
That stuff stinks like out of control, dude.
Oh, did you get a whiff?
Yeah. That stuff stinks more than anything in this universe. All right, so now we have our chain tensioner. This was way harder to make than you would expect because I guess this plastic releases formaldehyde when it gets really hot, so had to be careful about that. But now we have a countersunk bolt that can rotate in here, and then this whole setup will go through the frame of the mini Jeep. It'll be able to go up and down and supply tension to our chain. Let's install it. Woo, that's hot. So the way I imagine this chain tensioner working, it's super simple. We just drill the hole in the frame. We're gonna take this piece, put it down there. We've got a nut here, and then once it goes through the frame, we'll put a nut down there, and then these will tighten up, and it will hold it at whatever height you want it. Really simple, but I think it's gonna work. Yep, that's not going anywhere. Our chain tensioner is finished up. Now it's time to weld these sprockets onto our jack shaft. And I know that's gonna make that piece non-serviceable, but a key is just not gonna do it. BMW and Audi do this all the time. They make parts that come as a package deal. So if you ever need to replace the jack shaft on your mini Jeep from Bum, it's gonna cost you like $10,000. We gotta have the machine here. It's all gotta be custom made, but this is the only way we can do it, so let's weld it. That works quite nice, dude. That's crazy. We have so many chains on this vehicle.
Too many chains, I think.
Let's think about it really quick.
We have 3 right here. 1,
Three.
2, 3.
So 3 right there, 4, 5, 6 chains for a 6-wheel drive.
1 chain per wheel.
That's insane. But this setup works really well. I'm really happy with how the jack shaft works. Super smooth, we don't have any binding. Chain tensioner's working great. We'll probably have to tension that back section, but that's gonna come when we test drive this thing. We're getting very close.
So close.
Gas tank, we gotta install methanol, but besides that, we know our engine runs. Radiator, good. That's it for this video. I'm so happy with what we got done in this episode. We got a custom gas tank that holds a ton of fuel. We got the power from our engine to our rear wheels. And there's only a couple of little things that we need to do before this thing is driving under its own power. I know you guys are as excited as we are to see this thing drive. Some of you guys are so excited. It's the only thing you guys talk about in our comment section. And while that's cool, you can't use this project as an excuse to feel good about your car still being on jack stands. If you want to watch last week's video, it's going to be right there. Have a great day.